But all right. So, season 5, I would say, The Walking Dead is poised to have an explosive finale. But no, but we are super excited about it. We're gonna apologize in advance for the spoilers. What do you think, Oolong?
Oh
Anything you
man.
want to preface this with?
Yeah, this is going into now you've already warned about the spoilers, so this is going into what I call the golden age of Walking Dead. Like they've kind of reached a brilliant point, and depending on how the show meets with the comic book on this issue, this has the potential to be a very long-standing thing. Like if anyone who's read the comics knows that when they hit Alexandria, almost the whole show flips in a positive way. Like it's not it's definitely brilliant thing they did with it. I don't want to give away too much. I mean, there's spoilers and then there's Zomaga spoilers. But this is definitely something, as a fan of the comic book, I'm looking forward to in the show. Um, and I'm so glad they're well. This will be coming up in our talk about the actual episodes, but I'm glad they kept with a couple of things they did in the comic books, and we weren't sure as fans if they were going to do in the episodes.
Yeah, yeah. I still kind of hope, like I said, I've skipped around in the comic books. I try not to keep up with it too much because I don't want to have expectations or be disappointed. I want to go into this as fresh as possible, but it's
Mhm.
hard to avoid it when you know people that are fans of the comics. I hope they do deviate from it. And actually, we're gonna talk about some of the differences. We might as well talk about it now. Even though they're going in a direction that a lot of people are hoping for, which is Negan, the baddest, scariest enemy um, in the Walking Dead universe, arguably, right?
Mhm.
Um, it's gonna get there eventually, right? It's almost inevitable. The fan pressure's too much. They're gonna have to eventually buckle there. But they do have some. They are taking some creative liberties that are good. Like, for example, little things like Diana in the comics is actually Doug, right?
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Was Woodbury wasn't even a thing in the comics, was it?
Um, it wasn't a big thing. Like
It
the
was
the
it
show
was
definitely.
they played it up more in the show.
Yeah, the show went a lot more in depth with the whole Woodbury thing
Hmm.
than the comics did. But honestly, I think the show, now that we've gotten here, I kind of feel like the show may have done more of that lead in because they knew they were going to Alexandria, you know?
Yeah, I think all of this was like one huge kind of exposition, a setup for what's going to happen now. Um, so yeah, it's a good backdrop they did with everything. And actually, some feel like Woodbury wasn't done up enough in some aspects because the governor's character, his backstory is explored in some of the graphic novels, the third party stuff, the expanded universe stuff. So that's a whole other thing. But they definitely made it more of a focus on the show, for better or
Y-
worse. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually I like the way they did it because in the comic books it felt really short-lived, and then when they kind of gave a little more light and hey, this is what Woodbury is and whatnot, it was pretty phenomenal the way they did it and the way they kind of, I don't want to say went in depth to a ignored, but a very underutilized, because it did play a large part in what we're coming into and what we saw in the episodes 11 and 12.
I just got a tweet, completely unrelated, but I thought I would share this.
Cool.
There's still people making games for the original Wii,
Mhm.
and now there's one called Extreme Chores. It comes with 4 attachments for the Wiimote. You have digging, dishes, raking, and litter box.
Oh my gosh, yes, I see that. That is I that for me, when I was a kid, those were punishments. And I don't feel like if I let you do your punishments on the Wii, that it's coming across. That is entirely unfair.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, but I just thought that was cute. But another difference, it's in the little details. I feel. Did you notice? I feel like this is a bigger detail than we may think, at least initially. But in the Alexandria safe zone, the support beams are on the outside instead of the inside. Now, some people might say, "Oh, why is that a big deal? Why you, that's not very important to the plot." But to me, it kind of supports this thing of being caged in. You can only leave with permission. You have to, it's like maybe they're not worried about the threats from the outside, rather the threats on the inside. Like they want to keep everybody in there. Like a cage of sorts. I don't know. Am I reading too into it? Maybe.
Uh,
Because in the comic, I'm pretty sure the support beams of the walls on the outside were on the inside rather than outside.
well, yeah, but actually, there's support beams on the inside too. They're not like super pronounced, but
Yeah, the ones on the outside are like they really focused on them when they pan down and stuff. So I thought there was a deliberate reason they were focusing more on that exterior wall.
there could be, and we may see something happen with that.
Hmm.
But well, that's kind of one of those we're gonna have to wait and see.
Well, I'll tell you what, and our friends at ZombieCast, we had gone to Walker Stalker Con in Atlanta, and we were all making the same, speculation. Now we're getting that payoff. We're saying we saw the clean shaven Rick, Andrew Lincoln, and he was kind of like playing, oh well, maybe they kill me off, or maybe they don't, or and but everybody was like, yeah, they're not gonna kill you off. So it can only be one thing: you find a place to settle down, So
Yeah,
and it was interesting. We went to Sonoya in Georgia. Beautiful, beautiful town. It's got that small town, that old town feeling with the little mom and papa shops, a nice little shopping strip, and it's a really cute place and beautiful, just beautiful. But we were looking on, and you could see from the road, the access roads on the outside of where they film everything. They had the walls erected. They were like, Alexandria is gonna happen. So, but even with that, when we 'cause we didn't see it we didn't even see it in episode 11. We saw it in episode 12 when they finally got there. So like we're not even really talking about episode 11, guys. Episode 11, by the way, was Distance, and it was just more wandering through the forest. To be honest, we'll talk about some of the stuff. There was some good stuff, but episode 12.
there were one or two really good scenes in it that kind of caught me.
All right, so we'll come back to it. But I'm going to focus more on episode 12, for the sake of time. But when we first get to Alexandria, it's very easy to say this is Woodbury all over again, but it's not. There's something special here. By the way, another fun fact. So we know that they film in Sonoya, Georgia. They also film in Graniteville, South Carolina, which I'm close to both of them. I'm actually closer to. I'm about the same distance to Graniteville, maybe a little bit closer. But the word on the street is that they have extended contracts to film in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what they do for all of the Alexandria inside the house, the indoor scenes, those are all sets they created. But the actual houses are the actual real houses people live in.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't it neat? So like
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the magic they do like to make us believe that's one cohesive area. Like it's crazy. 'Cause they do it so well the way they transition. But apparently they have a long-standing deal with these areas. Graniteville is a little more, I don't want to say desolate, but it's definitely less populated, so it's easier for them to film there. But in Sonoya, it's funny. You find people that love The Walking Dead, and they take advantage of the fact that the tourists go there, the fans go there, or they truly just love the show, and they love what the opportunities created for them. And then there's the people that hate it, like I just want my private life back. Good lord, all these people in my backyard.
I mean, they might want that private life, but at the same time, they know their city's economy is booming because of that.
Oh yeah, it's created tons of jobs for them. And matter of fact, The Walking Dead is like one of like several dozen films that have filmed in Sonoya. Footloose filmed in Sonoya, not exclusively, but partly. Did you know that?
I did not, but I will tack that into my knowledge for trivia night.
There you go. I actually have a picture of all the little stars where they mark where the different movies were filmed and shows were filmed. And when I saw Footloose, I was like, "Word!"
I kind of want to see a Patrick Swayze zombie now.
Oh
You
Lord.
know, just like
Well, they don't have a Patrick Swayze zombie yet, but
that would be great. No,
they did have
the corner.
one of the zombies. Was actually is his name Scott Ian from Anthrax?
Yeah,
The one that grabbed Rick's leg when he was looking for his gun that he stashed out there.
which was mysteriously vanished.
Yes, they keep doing like I like how they keep doing this whole bit where they have a stash of guns and supplies outside of wherever they're going just to be safe if they have to kind of like get out of there and book it. They have like a kind of scuttle bag,
Yeah, they got the bug out
the
bag.
bug out bag. Yeah, that's the better word. I always say scuttle. I'm like, no, that's a better word. What's the word? Bug out bag. 'Cause that is a
Yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but it was missing from the little blender he put in there. So that was interesting. Like you already feel like there's an ominous presence. Like who's watching over them? Is it Morgan who's been following them for most of the season?
You know? Yeah, or maybe, because they've had all these people kind of scouting them, maybe he feels as though someone from Alexandria saw when he stashed it and took it because it's very untrusting in this kind of, you know, it's still kind of iffy in that to the survivors.
Right, and see that's a scary thing because it might just be that they're scared that he might try to do something, so they hit it and didn't tell him anything, and then he's gonna be less trusting, and it might lead to some unnecessary conflict. Actually, this whole episode is all a lot of setup for potential conflicts. I get the
Mhm.
feeling that Jessie, who's a sweetheart, she's a total doll. I think, what's her name? I had it written down here somewhere. Something Breckenworth, I think her name is. But she played on American Horror Story. I think she was the maid, the keep maid,
Yeah.
Alexandra Breckenridge.
Yeah.
Her character Jessie, she seems to like have an immediate connection with Rick, and there might be some kind of romantic inclination there. And we already saw that her husband's kind of a jerk. I mean, he's not kind of. He is a jerk. And he was kind of like it was like the least sincere welcome ever. Like, welcome to Alexandria.
Yeah, he basically could have said, "I'm so glad to see you. Watch your back." It
Exactly.
it was so backhanded, like in his, "Oh, you know my wife? Well, that's awesome.
Exactly.
Don't say
Everything.
hi again."
Exactly. Oh, so she gave you a haircut.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, he was a total sourpuss. Like, it's interesting because there's like two main camps in Alexandria. You got the folks that are really likable and you want to trust them, and then you got the folks that are like they're just I don't know type A personalities, just trying to prove something, they protect their territory. It's weird.
Hmm.
And then the third camp actually would be the people that are kind of recluse, like that girl that Carl seems to be drawn to.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, she
Who-
was like trouble.
Yeah, she seems kind of shifty, and
Yeah.
the fact that she's only been there a short time and
Yep.
she's from the survivor world, they basically they always played to two very impactful points, and one of them came from Rick during the interview, where he had said, "Close your gates," because in this new world people measure you not by what you can do for them, but what they can take from you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that kind of set the whole overtone of what they're kind of going through with this, I think.
Which is funny. I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead. He said that and it's almost like he was showing his hand, because at the very end of the episode, he said, "Well, if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't go our way, we'll just take it. We'll just take what we want." Like, wow, that's almost very governor-ish. Like,
Yeah.
the Rickerner. Is that? We'll make that a thing. The Rickerner.
Well,
So
you've dealt with the governor. Now it's the sheriff.
yeah, like I hope he doesn't go down a dark road. I mean, I know he's in a survival mode, and he's got a baby, so obviously he's gonna do whatever he can to protect his family. I absolutely get that as a family man, but like, they be guarded, have a backup plan. Don't let your guard down, right? Make sure you have contingency plans in place. But Diana, the ringleader, I guess she'd be the mayor, the governor. I don't know what her title is, but she's the leader of this settlement, and she's giving them lots of privileges and lots of power already. I mean, she interviewed everybody to get a feel for them, and she makes it a point to let them know that she's very good at reading people, right? That if she didn't succeed as a politician, she would have become a professional poker player, right? I thought that was brilliant right there. But she gives Rick and Michonne the positions of constable, not sheriff, not lawkeeper, constables. It's interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
they're going to be. It's just a whole new interesting take on it.
Well, constable to me has a very specific connotation. It's almost empirical, perhaps socialist society.
Yeah.
And socialist borderline communist, because they have this whole thing going on where everybody lives equally and everybody pulls their weight, right? Everybody gets a house,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's living comfortably, everybody's taken care of. No one's really getting no one's really playing favorites. It's a very socialist kind of paradigm. But
Definitely.
but it's still, no matter what kind of system you have politically, in the social level, what kind of social construct you have in place, there's still a hierarchy no matter what, right?
There is, and the constable being the peace officer is going to be. It's kind of as though, like, when you hear sheriff, you think, okay, this guy is law and he's got all this power. Constable almost gives it a feel of, yeah, you control what I let you control.
Yeah. Yeah. Your power is given to you by the people and can be easily taken away.
Yeah.
And that's also interesting because I get this feeling that the reason they're taking a risk with Rick's group, his ragtag group of survivors, is because Diana feels like something's about to go down. Could it be the three people they exiled? Are those people associated with Negan? Where was Negan amongst them? Because she said that exiling people during these times is as good as killing them, if not worse. Yeah. And that girl might be associated with them. But let's go back to the conflict. Let's talk all the conflict in the work. So we see Jesse's really kind of smitten by Rick. It really feels like they're trying to build that up. Glenn has a falling out with Diana's son, Aiden. That is her son, right?
Yeah.
Because she was thankful that Glenn, took him down a notch and like tackled him and stuff. He kind of needed to be humbled a bit.
Well, I mean, he popped him in the nose. Like, it was just boom.
Yeah, that's true.
Knocked him off that high horse a little bit.
Yeah, and he deserved it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in the general rules of he started it. I mean, he swings first and even tries to tell him, like, Glenn tries to be the good guy and go, no one's impressed. You don't want to do this. Just walk away.
Yeah. The thing is, Glenn, that part was a little bit poorly done to me because Glenn's a little smarter than that. I think he's much smarter than that. And even though he's trying to defuse the situation, it was the words he chose, the actions he chose, for someone that you could tell is narcissistic, is the worst approach to it. Like, don't tell someone who's a tough guy to back down. It's basically saying, what you gonna do about it? That's just as bad.
See, I
no one's
agree with
impressed.
that.
No one's impressed. Like, Oh, they're impressed. I'm all, it's all about
Right.
me. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get that, but at the same time, I think with the way that this whole thing's been developing, I honestly think it was very purposeful that they had that happen because,
Oh yeah,
these hardened survivors coming into this environment. I mean, okay, this is where I have to go back a little bit into the previous episode, is because we see just how untrusting and almost cold the whole group has gotten.
yeah.
When they finally do take Aaron over to meet Rick, and he's just trying to be nice and polite, and right off the top he doesn't trust it. He thinks ambush. Boom, he socks him and knocks him out, ties him up, steals his stuff. I mean, he basically does all these things. It takes so much work and convincing to even, you see. I almost feel like there's a huge reversal of role here, and that was the big thing about the previous episode. If you look back at the earlier seasons of Walking Dead, we saw Rick as kind of this, trying to be compassionate, trying to like work within the we can survive together, we can be a group, we can do this, we'll strive. And when we first meet Michonne, she's hard,
Mm,
she's got two walkers on chains and a blade, and she doesn't say anything to anyone, and she doesn't take any guff. But now it's Rick who's like, I don't trust this guy, tie him up. How many people do you have? What are you trying to do to my people? Is this an ambush? You
yep.
better hope it's an ambush or I will end you. Like, he's that extreme kind of, I walk in this land with my blade, period. And it actually takes Michonne talking sense into him, going, hey, look, this is a chance for us to really find something. Like, don't be so callous, don't be so cold. What about this, what about that? And it was really interesting to see that kind of reversal of role.
Well, the whole Rick's group is completely divided. I mean, they started to show some unity when there was apparently no light at the end of the tunnel, but they kept pushing on together, and it kind of made them stronger and closer together. But now everybody's really split about like how great this is. Carl's worried that they're gonna get weaker. Glenn likes it. Michonne is all about it.
Yeah.
Uh, Rick still isn't completely sold on it, and Daryl doesn't want to play ball. Again, back to conflict, the potential for conflict.
Hmm.
Glenn might end up taking over supply runs and causing a problem with Aiden. That might splinter what's going on in this new society. And Daryl's kind of like still stuck in his old ways to the point where he still hasn't even taken a shower, and they have running hot water. The whole place is self-sustaining. They got solar power. I think they even have wind power. They got their own water supply with filtration systems. I mean,
Yeah,
everything,
sewage filtration.
everything. I mean, it's crazy. And but he's had. I mean, in this kind of scenario, taking a shower would be like a godsend. Like, oh my gosh, yes. Michonne took 20 minutes just brushing her teeth. The
Yeah.
things we take for granted, right? But I mean, it's really interesting that the kind of I guess you could say dichotomy going on here with the group.
Mhm.
Carol is, if you think about it, Carol is the embodiment of everything, the major types and roles in this group, because she went from being really weak and dependent to being really independent and kind of scary. Like, she's beyond Rambo, kick butt commando type now. Like, she's playing the role of a soccer mom, but she's just playing. Just playing along. She's playing ball just to get a feel for everything. She's the scariest out of all of them because she's not. She has the best poker face. Did you realize that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, she asked them like, if you have any like little league, sports after extracurricular type things, I'd love to be a part of that. She's
Yeah.
wearing a cardigan, dude.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I almost for a while I swore they were gonna be like, she's gonna be a teacher. Like, let's just make her a teacher.
Oh my gosh, right? but she's playing the thing very brilliantly, and I'm worried for Daryl because he wears his heart on his sleeve, and you know, well, not even so much that he's always playing that tough guy redneck role, and he needs to get out of that so he needs to be, less expendable. Right now he's very expendable, and it might cause some trouble. They all need to play along and act like they're completely on board, and while they feel everything out, because if they start raising too many alarms, it's gonna get ugly fast. And I don't even think the ugliness, hopefully, ideally, actually, regardless of what I think is gonna happen, what I think needs to happen is don't even introduce Negan or an outside threat this season. I think it'd be terrible. What they
No,
need to do,
there's so much internal that they
yeah,
don't need Negan yet. Like they
exactly,
can do all next season about it, you know.
exactly. Because they're brewing up so much stuff here with the different dynamics between the different groups, right? Um, and I think that'd be great. I mean,
And I
like,
mean, don't forget about Rick's son. Even he's got conflict going. Like
oh yeah,
he meets the kids. There's other kids in the community, and like I think this has been a lot about heavily the difficulty to adapt, and we see it at such different levels. We see some people who just slide into their role. They throw on a cardigan, they're like, oh, time to go to work, got to go do this. We see the more skeptical kind of it's good but it's bad out of Rick and his son, where like once he cleans up, he looks like the old Rick, but he still talks like the current Rick. I don't trust this, I don't trust that. And then you've got the complete, I want to say like gone feral almost, Daryl the feral, if you will, who's been out in survival mode so long that he just doesn't trust anything. He's like, I'm a savage now. I hunt. I get the, like, one of my favorite moments was the very beginning of the episode. And I know it's weird. I'm bouncing back to the beginning.
oh that's good. That's gonna be what we're gonna do.
But that gate slides open and something rattles the trash cans and Daryl just swings and shoots
Yep,
and he hits that possum.
that was a huge possum too, by the way.
It was, but they're like, hey, welcome. And he holds it up with the arrow and he's like, we brought dinner. Like that was the most classic Daryl moment in the whole thing. Like, just, we brought dinner. We got the possum.
Which is surprising too. I love that part, and I'm surprised that with Diana being so good with people. By the way, Carol, that's another funny part. Carol's like, "Oh, I'm great with people." Like, are you? Not anymore. Maybe old Carol.
Right.
But Diana's so good with people, and she reads people so well. But she hasn't quite figured out what Daryl's meant to do, like what his job will be. Everybody seems to have jobs except for Daryl and maybe Sasha. But Daryl should be an easy fit. Like, just have him be the hunter, get live game, and bring it back.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that could definitely be. I mean, it's definitely something. I think he would make a good. What am I mean, the hunter is definitely a good position, but like a secondary one behind it would be almost a city defense. Like he could literally be the director of defense. Like he's so well versed with his weaponry and his survival tactics that if they had to deal with something outside of the walls, that should be like his department. Oh, we've got like 50 walkers. Send Daryl out. He'll have fun.
Sasha could be his like long range support because apparently she's a perfect marksman or markswoman,
Oh yeah.
sharpshooter.
Oh yeah.
Do they even have? Did you notice if they had guard towers or lookout posts? I didn't see.
I didn't see any towers necessarily, but they stated when in episode 11 when he's mentioning the walls and stuff, he said they're only about what was it, 12 or 14 feet. So I mean, technically she could just pop up on a roof. Those are huge houses.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
no
mean, if
kidding.
she just popped up on a roof and laid down, by the way, where did they get all these weapons? Did you notice all the weapons?
Yeah, exactly. There's a
That
lot of
dude's
red
got a
flags.
military grade like assault rifle. One of the guys from the scouting crew or whatever. Um,
Yep.
he had a military grade assault rifle. Like,
and he gives Glenn and Tara, and who else was there?
uh, it's Glenn, Tara, and
Tara, not Tara, Tara.
Tara. Yeah.
Yeah, like Tara away.
Oh my gosh, I can't
I forgot.
remember.
Yeah, I forgot who the third person was. It might have been Sasha.
I think it was.
But they get like the chump weapons, like the little pea shooters. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It was
Here,
a
have
total.
these pistols.
Yeah. Like here, we got some really sweet pieces for you. Like so sarcastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So that's interesting. I feel like that whole community is relying way too much on the walls, and that's bad. Hopefully, Rick will change that. Hopefully, they'll get some perimeter booby traps going and some night watch. It doesn't feel like they have that going on right now. Like everybody's kind of become complacent, and that's what Carl and Gann is worried about.
A teenage girl found a way to subvert their walls with a stick.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, how good are your defenses? They're great against walkers, but if someone finds a stick, and who knows where you're going to find a stick, considering the whole first season's been walking through the woods. But if you find a stick, you can just kind of plant it in there and subvert their walls altogether.
And it won't snap. Nope.
No. Of course not. No, those are them strong sticks.
Yeah, but that girl, I forget what his name is. Oh my gosh, was it like something like Destiny or something?
Honestly, I can't remember.
Isn't that bad?
Touched on her, like, well, they only kind of mentioned her in one or two little pieces, like when he goes to meet with the kids, and she happens to be one of them. They mention her name, and then they kind of never really touch on it again.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think that's probably good writing because they make it seem like at first that she's just an angst-ridden teenager, so she's just got attitude because she can. But then with her leaving, you start to feel like maybe the reason she's like that is because she's gone through some kind of persecution and she's seen some stuff. She's been through the stuff.
Well, she was a survivor. And so, I mean, she was out in it up to, I think they said 3 months. Like she didn't say a word in the first 3 months, but she used to be out in that.
Was this 3 months or 3 weeks?
3 months, because they said anything for the first 3 months she had been there.
Interesting. Okay, so that's actually really important because 3 months. I would hope that they're still keeping a close eye on her, and you would think if she was in contact with a raider group or something, they would have made their move already.
You would think, but not necessarily, because I've got a theory on it, and I don't want to, it's a whole ordeal about, they talk about the exiled, and maybe she knew them. Maybe she knows them from, maybe she's a mole for the exiled, and that's why she kind of sneaks out to meet. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
The exile, that was more recent, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, she could have known them, and so now she goes out and she's like, hey, I snuck you this, or hey, here's some information. Check it out. They've got these new survivor guys and stuff like that, I don't know. Like I said, it's a theory in the works.
Yeah, that's a theory. There's something. She's gonna become a bigger character for the storytelling for sure. But I mean, we can keep going deep on this. You don't want to share your theory? We got about a half hour left, so we should probably move on.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got to move on. But one more thing I do want to cover that I thought was kind of cool, that when they did in the earlier episode, they actually kept Aaron and Eric, which was a big thing, and a lot of people didn't know if that was something they were going to hold on to or not.
They had to. These days, you have to have some kind of nod to the LGBT community. Like, I have nothing against it, but I feel like every show now has some kind of lesbian or gay couple or like some bi-curious thing going on. Like, have you noticed that?
There is, but I mean, I was happy to see that they kept it because like their story, if you guys follow the comics, their story gets really good and really in depth. So I'm hoping they're going to kind of they took the time in that episode to kind of introduce them and do that so that we can kind of see that story
Oh yeah,
evolve.
the characters are very interesting, individually and together. There's something I wonder like how they got. I want to know how they got so close and how they came into the community and all that stuff. Because what was Aaron's job before?
He worked for an organization that went to
Charity, right? Some kind of
third
charity thing.
yeah, like third world countries and delivered food and supplies to third world countries.
So he was used
Like
to having guns pulled on him. He said that.
yeah, like where there's death squads and stuff like that, and he was delivering foods and packages, and he's like, I've had a lot of evil men point guns at me, and you're not evil.
See, I like that part. That was really cool the way they did that. But yeah, we're gonna move on. But one last tidbit, actually a couple of last tidbits here. Back to Alexandra Breckenridge, aka Jessie. She says that her character, since you like the comic, Oolong, she said her character is very different from the one in the comic.
Hmm.
So that's another thing to look forward to. I like when they deviate from the comic because it keeps you on your toes, and then no one can spoil it for you. Like, oh, I know what's gonna happen next.
Right.
But the last episodes, there's 4 more episodes left in the season, and that's Forget, Spend, Try, and Conquer. Now, mind you, episode 12, I believe, was directed by Greg Nicotero, and it was light on the zombies. They were there, but it was light on the zombies, and it's actually one of my favorite episodes this season for sure. And the last episode will be a Greg Nicotero directed episode, and it will be 90 minutes long. A strong season finale. They haven't done that yet, have they? A 90-minute episode, have they?
Um,
Can't think of.
I don't think since the opening. I think the very like first Walking Dead episode was kind of movie length and just to
Yeah.
get everyone adequated to the
Yep.
world and the ideas. But I don't think they've gone back to it since then. So it's really cool to see them doing it this time.
Yeah. So we'll continue the Walking Dead talk, especially now Doctor Who's in the off season. Um, that's gonna be our thing. But let's talk about some video games real quick here. As we approach the end of the show, unfortunately, we're pretty close there. But I wanted to share a few sci-fi video games that I particularly enjoy. I have a whole list here, but I'm gonna talk about some that I played recently. Dungeon of the Endless. Have you seen me play this yet?
I have. I've seen a little. I've been able to catch a little bit of it. We tried to watch it that one day during the really long stream, and it was kind of
Yeah,
yeah. It was funky, but I have watched a little bit of that.
I gotta get my gaming rig back and running. Um, Lord Rakdos has said Lost Girl season 5 premiere April 17th.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah. Oh,
final season.
you know what else came back? And I actually just watched the episode yesterday, but it's now back. Once Upon a Time.
Oh gosh,
Once Upon a Time is back, ladies and gentlemen, and it is so good.
man, don't get me
But
started.
yeah, I'm sidetracking from the required video game content.
And by the way, since we're probably not gonna get to it, the Doctor Who flashback will be back for the next episode, barring any setbacks. But there's so much to talk about in video games and The Walking Dead. We're trying to find a way to condense it and get to everything. Yeah, my wife loves Once Upon a Time. She liked the spin-off too. What was it called? Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Yeah, it's cool the way they meld all the different universes there. Cupcake Envy, hey! You're catching the last stretch of the show, and Tiger Claw's in here too. Awesome. So yeah, video games. Let's talk video games. So Dungeon of the Endless. I really want to get my main gaming rig back up and running. There's so much going on, but I want to stream this because it's such a fun game. I mean, it's a dungeon crawler. It's a roguelike. Um, it's like Diablo, like I said, dungeon crawler
Hmm.
or Torchlight. But then it's got like tower defense mechanics. It's like turn based. It's so weird, but it's so cool. It's all about exploring different rooms of a like a space station that you crash into or a planet you crash into. It's really weird. And you got like there's resource management involved, and each time you go into a room, you never know if you're gonna find treasure or get attacked by a bunch of enemies. And you have to have your guys positioned well. If your character dies, you lose it. You can play online. I haven't played it online yet, but it's a maximum of 4 players. If you play by yourself, you control your party by yourself. Maximum of 4 characters. And again, when they die, they die. They're gone.
Yeah, GG, they're gone.
Yeah, it's. Oh! Cupcake says she was so here for the Doctor Who flashback. No! We'll try to squeeze it in. Rose Tyler. Yeah, we just went heavy on the Walking Dead talk. Rose Tyler. Actually, one of the things for the people that are here for the Doctor Who talk, one of the things I want to do is just do a roundup, maybe a special episode where we just talk about um, all our favorite episodes from classic and recent Who. That's gonna be a lot, and I had to be a dedicated special episode, maybe like a bonus episode. So we go deep on that. Cupcake says she's a weeping angel. Nice. Oh man. But Dungeon of the Endless, I can't recommend that game enough. It's just such a different kind of a game. Uh, it's really neat. I like it a lot, and it's got like this sense of desperation. It has a lot of darkness in it, but it's done well. Like, I wish I could stream it right now, but I can't. But
Oh, it is good. It's. I noticed there's a game missing. I see the list. There's a game missing.
oh, there's a lot more. I just try to keep it short. I knew we wouldn't have enough time.
I'm gonna add one to it. It's
Okay,
gonna
go for
happen.
it.
Shadowrun returns,
Oh yeah.
dude. Like I'm huge into my cyberpunk, and so with my cyberpunk, I have to like it's still growing. There's so much to do. There's a workshop add-ons, but let me give you guys kind of the basics. If you don't know about Shadowrun, A, Google it. B, it's kind of the start. It's what really gave the origins to the cyberpunk theme and idea. So you get kind of your fantasy sci-fi crossover. There's trolls, there's humans, there's elves, but it's set in the future and they can get cyberware and all sorts of crazy cool stuff like smart links. So they can fire a gun and they can machine gun, but the smart link will stop the gun from firing when you go across an ally. But Shadowrun Returns is done in a very tactical, kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics style. With it's very Shadowrun cyberpunk roots, including the language. There's a whole vocabulary for it, and it's really immersive, really well done. I've been thinking about doing a few things with it lately because it is just so good.
And I get excited about it too because I'm a long-time fan of the tabletop game and even the game on Genesis and even the Super Nintendo one. That was very different. But I even like the freaking weird Xbox game they had, a 360 game. One of the first games they had. But I'm gonna have to stream it one day if I get this Comcast situation figured out. Good lord. Ooh, we're having a competition here about who's the scarier enemy in the Doctor Who universe, in the
All right,
Whoverse, the
let me see here.
Silence or the Weeping Angels. They're both good. But the Silence, looking at yourself and you see a bunch of lines when you're counting how many you've seen.
Mhm.
That's and like the Silence, they apparently pop out. They pop up throughout history. Like they haven't been quite defeated, so you never know
Yeah.
what they might be doing or pulling, like the strings might be pulling behind the scenes. I don't
I
know.
I think see I've got a totally different opinion on both of those. Like I don't think it's the Weeping Angels or the Silence.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You're not gonna say the Daleks, are you?
No. No.
Maybe the classic Cybermen, where they were actually more like zombies than
Nope.
cyborgs.
No, those are good, but no. No.
Mm.
To me, the absolute scariest thing that you could possibly run into, all of it, I would have to say the Master.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
but
Time
he's
Lord.
but he's a single enemy. We're talking about like a race of
Oh,
enemies.
you okay? If we're going a race of enemies, what about what are they? The ones that can absorb the powers and evolve that we see. Mm,
Absorb powers and
yes, it
evolve.
they looked in the episode. They looked like gargoyles. It actually had Giles from Buffy. You know
Oh
the race I'm talking
gosh.
about. If they, because think about it, if they went out there, they could absorb the abilities of the angels or the silence. So now you've got this huge beastie creature that can do those things as well. One whole thing.
There were also the enemies that were able to use the power of words.
Yes.
From what was that episode? The Shakespeare Code, was it? It was a
Mm,
David Tennant episode, I believe.
yeah.
I want to say series 3 of the new series, and they were basically like witches, but the thing is, their power was just in words. So if you knew how to use words against them, you could defeat them. And they were like evil muses, if you really think about it. 'Cause they were feeding Shakespeare all his ideas, remember?
Yeah.
And then using that inspiration, his creation, to get to empower themselves. It's really weird. Like they're pretty scared. They're pretty formidable themselves, but the Doctor knows how to banish them, so that's so bad.
Yeah.
But we didn't see much of them. We need to see more recurring enemies, recurring formidable enemies, enemy races that
I
are
think
just.
so. Like I have a list of certain ones I would like to see make a return.
That's another
That
thing we could explore.
yeah, that we haven't seen. And I mean, one of the things I would love to see is maybe a few from classic Doctor Who showing back up in new Doctor Who, just to kind of get that interest going across. But
Yeah,
hopes and dreams, hopes and dreams.
words and swords, words and swords.
Oh yes.
Now, Cupcake mentioned the Ood.
Oh, I love the Ood. Absolutely love the Ood.
Huh. See that? Yeah. That's a good one. Wasn't it also a race called the Arachne? They like spider like?
Yeah. I kind of want the vampire mermaids to come back from when they went to Italy. That I think that would be, or Venice. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, gosh, I guess we're not gonna talk about video games, and now it got me thinking over here.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much we're gonna Hoovian through this. Um,
The Ood is good because they don't, like, a lot of times there seems to be like the less human they look, the scarier. Like they're humanoid, but they don't have a mouth. That makes a big difference, and they communicate telepathically.
yeah,
So that's another creepy thing, and they just have like this ominous presence, right?
yeah,
Huh. Yeah, see, that's what I like. That's there were vampire mermaids. I almost forgot about them myself. And there needs to be less of these one-off creatures, and they need to keep bringing them back. Like that'd be cool. Because some of the best creatures we've seen are like these one-off things, and then they don't come back, and it's sad.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're not even talking about video. I mean, I was gonna talk about Risk of Rain and Strider, which has sci-fi elements, and Starbound and System Shock 2 and Starpoint Gemini. But let's just talk Who. But I do
Let's
want
do
to,
it.
yeah, let's just talk Who. I mean, we're not gonna talk about Carnival of Monsters, but what I recommend you guys watch it. Tweet us about it. Carnival of Monsters. It's the third Doctor. It's 10th season, serial to the second story in the 10th season. This is right before Tom Baker. Well, not right before, but close to when Tom Baker came in as the fourth Doctor.
Oh, good old Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Jelly
John,
baby?
but John Pertwee, he held his own.
He did. He see, I always look at Doctor Who, and I kind of have that debate with friends and everybody. You know, you always hear people go, "Well, who's the best Bond?" I'm like, amateur. Who's the best Doctor? All right, you don't get that blatant, Sean Connery, whatever, like you do with Bond. There's so many good doctors that it makes it a really tough choice.
It is. It is. Though Sean Connery is a good Bond, and I like him a lot. But I like the what's his face? The other classic guy,
Roger Moore.
Roger Moore. Thank
I
you.
knew it was coming out there.
And I had to throw it out there. That it's a tough call between the two of them. But yeah, you don't get as rich, as deep of a conversation on that as you will with Doctor, because there's actually people that love Patrick Troughton, and I'm not a big fan, but he's grown on me. A lot of people giving Peter Capaldi some flack, and
I am one of those.
I know.
I'm not a Capaldi guy.
It's how he's written, though. He's not a bad actor.
No, let's get this fair. He's a good actor.
I'd say great.
The direction that they took kind of that Doctor Regeneration was.
They're trying too hard to deconstruct his character.
Oh, look, there it is. The Krillitane. We got that link of the Krillitane. That is the monster I was thinking of that can absorb the powers and get stronger and more awesome.
It's like Dragon Ball Z's Cell. Why not?
Without all that next time on Doctor Who.
Oh gosh, and milking every single episode.
Yeah.
Here's 5 episodes of men grunting and having veins popping out.
I'm gonna charge my sonic screwdriver.
Imagine Doctor Who taking the DBZ approach. Oh my lord, it'd be terrible. Though they did have a lot of cliffhangers before, because they used to stretch out the stories, but it was still like each episode on its own was fun, you know. So, oh man, I kind of missed them doing the whole 4 to 6 episode arc. That was cool. That was cool when they did that.
By the way, we keep talking about Swords and Words. And I've been going back through watching even more Doctor Who as I do. Just every now and again, you gotta watch the new Doctor Who and the classics. And I thought about it, and it was weird the way it hit me. But Swords and Words was back a while ago. But when you looked back to the 50th anniversary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Swords and Words kind of hit me again, because when they're looking, when he looks at the picture, he goes, well, actually, it's got 2 titles. And the option, it was Gallifrey Falls or No More, and it was no Gallifrey Falls No More. And they kind of used the words to go twist. I was like, oh, I see what you did there. And looking back on old Doctor Who, it made me appreciate it even more. What's up?
Yeah. No, there's a lot of good Easter eggs and callbacks, but I feel like they could do more to make that more cohesive and, like you said, ease in like the new fans into like the old universe and like kind of meld them better together. There's a lot of great content that they could, repurpose in this new series and keep that continuity going and build upon great things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when we talked about, or so a couple people asking what's the best classic Doctor Who run to watch, and I get, you and I would probably say Tom Baker, but there are some gems with Patrick Troughton if you get into the more campy, cheesy, low budget stuff. And
honestly,
black and white.
I would say if you're looking for the best classic Doctor Who runs, the 50th anniversary collection did such a good job of nailing kind of just the gems,
Yeah.
the real good high points. uh, and with it having such accessibility on things like Netflix, I mean, it's definitely worth going through and just kind of get a feel for each of the doctors. Because I mean, I could give my opinion, but everybody's going to kind of have their own thing. Like Swords and Words was phenomenal. I love that. I keep going back to it because it was such a good episode.
Yeah, the Mind Robber was definitely good. It made me want to go back and give Patrick Troughton more of a chance because I'm pretty
Yeah,
hard at him because just found him so silly. He was too physical in a silly way for me, and he didn't feel intellectual. Like that's what I expect from my doctor.
yeah.
Smart solution, not karate chops, judo throws. You know, but it's a different kind of doctor. So like if you like that more physical doctor, if you're someone that likes more of a Matt Smith, silly, goofy doctor, you might appreciate Patrick Troughton, right?
Absolutely.
Um, if you like more of a balance, Tom Baker was to me the most well-rounded doctor.
See, I usually like if I'm comparing new Who to classic Who, I usually tell people uh that Tom Baker very much reminds me of David Tennant.
David Tennant and Chris Eccleston too, because he has those moments where he's impatient. He's like, "All right, just shut up, really, stop."
Yeah, yeah.
You lay
And
down the
those
law.
quirky kind of, hey, oh, hey, I know that I just met you, but the building's about to blow up. You may want to run, like
Exactly.
so just kind of offhandedly, by the by, this may be occurring. You should probably go.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely see the ninth and tenth there so much in Tom Baker. But the third doctor, John Pertwee, you got to give him props too because he had a nice little presence. He brought his own little thing to it. He kind of looked like a magician. He had a nice theatrical presence, and it's one of the few times I can think of when we see the doctor driving an earthly vehicle around. He
Yeah.
spent a lot of time in Old Beth. I think that's her name, Old Beth or Gertrude, one of those. He named the car. He was so into that car, driving around. Not even running around, not even flying around in the TARDIS. He's driving around in his automobile. Why not? So I mean, yeah, the 50th anniversary collection. I have yet to find a stinker in there. I don't think there is. A lot of folks from what I hear from fan communities for Doctor Who, going back to the classic Who, coming in from the modern stuff, people like go back and they say Tom Baker might be the best Doctor, but it's arguable, it's debatable. Peter Davison may have gotten better stories. And you wonder sometimes, like, Peter Davison's not a bad doctor. He did a 3-season run, which is pretty typical for some reason. People are worried if they do more than 3, they're stuck in that role forever, right? But imagine if Tom Baker got to run with those Peter Davison stories.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty crazy.
that would be pretty cool.
But cause there are some like slow burn Tom Baker stories, but he still brings his A game. He just does so much with those roles.
Hmm.
But yeah, those are our recommendations in a nutshell. Yeah, don't let my disdain for Patrick Troughton keep you away from him. He's a silly doctor. It's fun. Some people like what's his face, Colin Baker.
Yeah, Colin Baker's another really big fan favorite.
Yeah, and I don't know if I really like him or not. Or Sylvester McCoy. He's the one with the weird, silly, like vest that has the question marks on it, right?
Yeah.
He's like a very self-aware, almost breaks the fourth wall doctor if you think about it. Like he's really like, I don't know, very tongue-in-cheek. Like all the stuff that he does, from his attire to the way he takes on the role. I feel. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff to take in. So, we've gone back to some of the, like, when we started off going to the classic Who on the show.
Hmm.
We started just by like kind of sampling all the big, like the earliest doctors, kind of comparing them, contrasting them.
Yeah.
So I think we've done one of every of the first 4 or 5 Doctors. I believe we have. So you can go back to those. Like we did Spearhead from Space. We did the Ark in Space. We did the Aztecs.
Yeah. And the Mind Robber.
Mind Robber. Did we do a Peter Davison story yet? I don't know if we did. Did we do the Cave of the Cybermen yet?
I don't think so. That can definitely be up and coming.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to double check the archives. So we go back on them and we go pretty deep on it. You can see, but yeah, that I will say, even though every one of the 50th anniversary collection is a gem, it's still hard to go back to like William Hartnell days. So that's a little tougher for most people.
Yeah.
So I can't wholeheartedly recommend it. I love it, but I know it takes a certain type to enjoy that.
Another nice little secret is if you watch it backwards. So you kind of go from the newer to the more classic to the older. You can kind of see it as it breaks down, but it doesn't bother you quite as much.
Yeah, you don't have to watch it in chronological order. At least not, from beginning to end. You can watch it going backwards. Yeah, that could work for sure. Mm-hmm. Though again, you may want to skip Colin Baker. Well, maybe not Colin Baker, but maybe Sylvester McCoy. I don't know if he's worth watching.
I say give them all a shot because everyone's going to have their own preference.
Yeah, that's true. Different strokes for different folks or whatnot. But we do have to start wrapping this up. That was actually a nice natural segue. We started talking about video games, and the audience decided, hey, let's talk some Woo. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Mm-hmm. We got a little bit of everything in today. Just some quick things to know about us as we do our outro. Time Tea Time, hashtag TWTT, can be enjoyed wherever fantastic, beautiful podcasts can be found, including but not limited to Stitcher, iTunes, Zune, TuneIn Radio, and Spreaker. And we thank all our friends at the podcasting community and the Twitch community for all the support. Our friends over at allgames.com, which BTW, you can join us live on allgames.com just by going to allgames.com, and the player, the embedded web player, is available right there. You can also listen to us live via Stitcher, via the All Game live radio station on there. Stitcher.com or Stitcher app on iOS and Android. That's one of my favorite ways to listen to podcasts, especially live shows. And we air every Saturday at noon Eastern, 5 p.m. in London, and 4 p.m. in Madrid. Of course, our website for the network, geekyantics.net, the Geeky Antics Network. We have Time Warming Tea Time, Horseplay Live, The Sunday Dose, a bunch of shows. Check us out, Gaming Death Podcast. We have exclusive shows, and we have syndicated shows, and we're adding more and more every month and trying out new things. So check us out there. Leave some comments. Show some love to our Twitch stream team, our writers, our Flash Fiction folks, and the rest of the gang. Everybody has their own contributions. Some people do photos and drawings and comic strips. All kind of content over there at geekyantics.net. If you haven't registered yet, make sure you register. You can unlock achievements and go up our scoreboard. Share your own creative works. Maybe contribute to the site. And, build your own audience while helping us out as well. We can always use some regular contributions.
Get yourself in at the hashtag Mega Awesome giveaway too.
Exactly.
Because didn't something just unlock for that?
Yes, Star Wars Humble Bundle. If you leave a comment, just go to geekyantics.net/giveaways, and you'll see the Mega Awesome giveaway thread. Pull up that post and leave a comment on there, and you'll have a chance to win that. And we should be announcing that on the next Horseplay Live show. We'll announce the winner, and then we'll also announce it on the blog post as well to make it easier. But make sure you leave a comment there.
Yeah, get in.
You gotta be in it to win it. Yeah. And also be sure to check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/geekyantics. Fatal, Oolong, bro.
Yo.
Pimp out your stuff.
All right. So, well, when I'm gaming, you can usually find me at twitch.tv/F8 F8TL_blades. You can find me on Twitter at F8TL_blades, no space, no underscore. I'm also going to be making a special appearance for our more aged followers. Definitely not safe for work, not safe for children. On the Sunday Dose here on Geeky Antics. I'll be making a special appearance on Sunday Dose coming up. So I think that's pretty much the major stuff. I'm usually hanging out anywhere you can find, Yogizilla or Obi-Wan X2. So I mean, I'm around. You'll find me. If you can't find me, Google me. And if you can't Google me, well, tweet me. If you can't tweet me or Google me, leave a voicemail and I will respond live on the show to your voicemail. I'm in. Let's go.
Sounds good. Well, I'm going to wrap this up because my Intimate's about to tank out. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Take care, everyone.
We thank you. We thank you for every crumb, biscuit and cake you bring to the table. Because Doctor Who belongs to all of us. What you bring to the timey-wimey tea time in your live chat participation, comments, likes, shares, tweets and voicemail, all of it means the world to us. Love, true love never fails. Do you like it? If you like what we're doing, well, tell us for God's sake. Shout it from the rooftops at geekyantics.net or call it in 206-415-4987. That's 206-415-4987. That's it. Bless you. So long. And thanks for all the fish. But on, it won't be that long. Just a wee while. Because the timey-wimey tea time will be back. We'll return next Saturday with fresh insights, questions and epiphanies about Doctor Who. And heck yes, everything geek. Maybe same bat time. Absolutely the same bat channel. Every Saturday.
Tiny, whiny tea time.
Me gusta.